So hello everyone, in this video we'll be understanding about if-else statement in JavaScript. So let's understand what are these actually. Like many other programming languages, JavaScript also allows you to write code that perform different actions based on the results of a logical or comparative test conditions at runtime. This means you can create test conditions in the form of expressions that evaluates to either true or false, and based on these results you can perform certain actions. Let me just give you an example. These are some statements or if statements that we can do and we'll be understanding in this video. In the next video we'll be practically doing if else statement. So you can see we have the if statement in which we can test any condition and we can execute any task or any block of code if something is true. We also have if else statement. We do this when there is something true and you also want the other block of code to be executed when something is false. So at that time you will be using this. We also have if else if statement. These statements occur when we have different states or we have different conditions to check and we want result on different conditions. Then we also have switch case statement that kind of similar to the if else if statement, but we do this to shorten the code of when we have large uh, conditions to check. So the first if statement is used to execute a block of code only if the specified condition evaluates to true. This is the simplest JavaScript's conditional statement and can be written like this. So you can see we have this if statement or if keyword, and then we have this parentheses. Inside that we'll be writing our condition. It can be any condition. We can use comparative operators that we understood in the last videos or last previous videos. We can use greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to, all these operators to check conditions. And then after that we have this curly bracket. Inside the curly bracket, whatever we'll be writing, that will be executed if the condition in the if statement is true. Now for understanding this if statement, this code example is given. You can see we have created this variable which is now, and we have created and we have assigned this new date object to it. This is a method we can use to assign the current date or current date and time to a variable. You can see we have assigned that by using new keyword, and then we have used date method. Now is the variable which contains or from which we can get the date, time, or anything we want for current timing. Let's say we have days of the week. We want the days of the week. What is the day of week today? We used now dot get day function. Now is an object now because we have created it with this new date method, and we can get the day by this dot get day method. We can access other methods as well, like get month, get year. All these methods are also there. We'll be understanding about date object in the future video. Let's just understand it gradually now. So this will give us the name of the day or the number of the day starting from 0. So for example, if it is starting from Sunday, so it will give us 0. If it is Monday, it will give us 1. Similarly, it will go to the Saturday, which is the last or the 6th index. Now we are checking that day of the week variable in which we have the index of the day of the week, and then we are checking if the day of the week equals to 5. So we are checking that here, that if the day of the week or the index of the day of week is 5, then you have to print alert, have a nice weekend. So we can print this alert, or we can execute any code in this curly bracket. That code will be executed actually. So this is basically the testing of this variable, that whether this matches with this 5 or not. We can also check greater than, check them by greater than, less than, all these operators. We can also use that. Then comes this if else statement. You can enhance the decision making capabilities of your JavaScript program by providing an alternative choice through adding an else statement to the if statement. Uh, Let me just give you the example. We added if statement, right? So what if some condition is false? So what should we execute actually? So if something is false and you want something to execute it, so then you can use this else block by writing else keyword here, and after that we can write curly bracket, and inside that curly bracket you can write any code that you want to execute if this condition false or if this condition fails actually. So you can see if condition is successfully true, then this block will execute, otherwise this block will execute. You can see the last example. We have added one more else statement, that have a nice day. If the day of the weekend is 5th, then we'll be writing this have a nice weekend, otherwise we'll be just writing have a nice day. So this is basically the if else statement. This is how we write it. Then comes if else statement. This is another statement that checks certain condition. If let's say you want something to be printed on condition 1 and you want something else to be printed on something or the condition 2, so that you can execute or check different condition of like let's say you want to check if the day of the weekend is 5, then you want to execute some code, and if the day of the weekend is 6, let's say, so then you want to execute something else, otherwise you want else block. You can also use multiple times else if, you can use multiple else if statements to check multiple conditions. Let me just show you that. You can see we have this if statement. After that we used this else if statement, which is kind of similar to this if, and we'll be using this day of the week. If it is 0, then we'll be writing have a nice Sunday. Otherwise, if none of the condition above is satisfied, then this else block executes. So this will be the last condition, or this will be the last block. If nothing executes, then this will be executed. You can see if it is check, it will check this one, so it will check this code first. If it doesn't matches with this, if it doesn't match with this, then it will check other condition, so or the next condition. If this doesn't match, then it will go to the next, and similarly it will go to the next conditions until something matches. If something doesn't matches or the condition isn't true, then at last it will execute this else block. We also have this ternary operator, which we can use for shortening this if else block. If you want a certain result to be returned from this block, so you can use this ternary operator or this question symbol, and then you can write the first value that you want on the true result, and after putting a colon you can write the second value that you want to return. That will be the false value. If the condition is false, then the second value will be returned. If the condition is true, then the first value will be returned after this question mark. This is called the ternary operation. We can see here that if you want to check if the age is less than 18, then you want to set user type variable to child. Otherwise you want to set this user type as adult, because if it is not less than 18, then probably or definitely it is greater than or equal to 18, then it will be adult, right? Then it is just alerting that after this condition execution. So this is fine, this way you can do this. But for shortening the code, for getting this very short, we can use this kind of approach, which is by using ternary operator. You can see we have this age variable 21, which we set here earlier, like this earlier. Then we are directly assigning the value to user type by first checking the condition only. So we are just getting this condition which we executed in the if block. So this if statement, this is kind of a if statement, you can say, and it is checking if age is less than 18. Then after that we are asking it from the compiler, you can say question mark, and if it is true, so the first value after the question mark will be returned, and then that will be assigned to this user type variable. Otherwise, this adult will be returned, and then that will be assigned to this user type. So you can see it is covered in 3 lines, and earlier we were using a lot of lines to do the same thing. So that's why when you have a short code, or you want the condition to be executed in very short code or in very short manner, so you can use ternary operation. So that will shorten your code of else, if else statement or if else block. But remember, we can only return some value here. We cannot execute a full code here. Let's say you want to execute uh, other type of code. Let's say you want to execute any other thing, or you want to execute any further operation which has 2 3 lines, that you cannot do. You can only write one statement or one line that you want to return actually. So that is the case, you have to remember. So this is the end of the site. I hope you got something. Thank you for watching. Let's meet in the another one.